Good evening, and thank you for tuning in to WCEG TalkRadio.com, the worldwide community empowerment group. We are your 501c3 nonprofit community radio station. Please consider making a tax-deductible donation to help support our broadcast. You can go to our website or call our office at 404-490-8646. Again, that number is 404-490-8646. And again, thank you for tuning in. First thing I want to do is make an announcement about the Georgia Milestones test. The testing just started today, and I hope all the students are ready. They should be. They've had an entire year of being educated and learning. And so I just wanted to wish everyone within the sound of my voice the best that they can do on the Georgia Milestones, because it's not an easy test, and the children do not like it. Jamilah, you took the test today?
Well, I'm actually in high school, so I don't have to do the Georgia Milestones anymore.
Is it just, what is it, third?
It's kindergarten, I believe, through eighth.
Through eighth, okay.
Yeah.
So what do they do in high school?
I believe finals.
Oh, I thought it went through high school. Okay, you just taught me something. I love learning stuff. But yeah, so shout out to all the students taking the Georgia Milestones. I know my students at Snapfinger Elementary should be well prepared. So, but all right, that's the only announcement I have today. We're going to go ahead and get started with the meat of our conversation. I want to introduce my guest I have with first. She goes by the name of Angela. She is the executive director of Healing
Hearts Through the Arts. Yes.
Healing Hearts Through the Arts. All righty. Yes. And this is what I'm trying to pull up. She's the founder of Healing Hearts Through the Arts. She's from Gary, Indiana. She has appeared as background in several TV shows and movies, some of which are Salon Patron, Star, Seasons 1 and 2, Saints and Sinners, featured Behind the Movement. Ooh, Black Panther. You were in Black Panther?
Yes.
What'd you do in Black Panther?
Was one of the farm wives. Yeah.
So you was a villager in Wakanda.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Yes, Wakanda.
I get emotional when because I auditioned for the movie.
Really?
And I didn't get it. So I was disappointed when I at first didn't get it, and then when I saw the movie, I was disappointed for a second time because of how great the movie was.
Well, next time,
right?
Because they're gonna do. I believe they're gonna do part 2. So
they're gonna do it in Atlanta.
Yeah. I hope so.
Atlanta Conda. Okay. So that's awesome. Congratulations and welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you. My next guest. We're going to go with Jamilah Muhammad.
Hello.
Hey, Jamilah, how are you?
I'm doing great.
Jamilah is an actress, a motivational speaker, a model, and an entrepreneur, and as she just said, a freshman in high school.
Yeah.
How you had time to do all that? You a freshman in high school?
Homeschooled.
Ooh, you're homeschooled?
Yes.
Ah, man, that is a conversation I would love to have. But yeah, well, maybe next time. We'll come back to that. And my next guest, she's an awesome person. She's a great friend of mine and a former co-host on a TV show with me. She's a pop artist. She has performed at the Sweet Arbor Festival, the Rialto Theater, South Georgia Pride, Georgia Equality, Under the Rainbow Athens. She's won numerous awards. AUMA Radio Best Female Vocalist. Mm-hmm. Ooh, impressive.
Thank you.
You've also won Hot Block Awards,
yes.
Right? And you've been on a couple of TV shows also.
Well, I was on Keeping It 1K with Little Scrappy.
Keeping It 1K.
Mm-hmm. And then some of my music is on R&B Divas. That was streaming, was a surprise to me. And then also in Europe on some sports programs. Yeah.
You global? You crossed the waters?
I sure did.
Ooh, wee. I'm glad, like Miss Penny tell me, I'm glad I know you. All right, well, we're going to get into this discussion. Angela is having a Free Your Mind Youth Explosion on April the 27th, right? So not this Saturday, but the following Saturday. So what exactly is the Free Your Mind Youth Explosion?
Free Your Mind Youth Explosion is a place where youth and some adults can come and express themselves in through all the creative arts and the music and dance. We'll have speakers there as well. And so we're bringing about awareness to mental health and depression in the youth, and we need to come together collectively. So by doing that, by having the performers there, that gives them something, to come in to be a part of, but as well as something by having the speakers there to bring more awareness, that gives more information to the community as well.
Okay, so it's like a forum, but you're going to have musical performance and acting performances there also.
Yes.
Okay, so Milyssa and Jamilah are some of your performing guests, right?
Yes.
And who else do you have slated coming in?
To have to come here to be on the show.
To be at the performance next on the 27th.
15 other performers.
Oh, wow.
And so together, about 15 performers, and like singers, dancers, artists, spoken word artists, like jazz, gospel. I mean, every genre of music and everything. The age ranges from like 12 and up. So we want to get everyone, the whole community. So everyone, I reached out to like everyone to come out, because you can't have a community when everyone is not involved. So you just have to bring everybody. And sometimes people, they're trying to voice their opinions, but sometimes they may not be able to verbally, express themselves. So they have to do it in singing, dancing, acting, some kind of way,
right?
Or even the visual arts. So doing that, you get to know everybody. You get to know what's happening in the beginning until they come to a point where they can express themselves. They have to have a place where they can feel free to find out what they can do or what others can do to help them. Right.
Well, and that's great that you provide that platform for them. And how many years have you been doing the Free Your Mind Youth Explosion?
I've had the organization for 6 years, and this is the 3rd year of having the Free Your Mind. So actually, it's the Free Your Mind Youth Explosion. This is the 1st year having this, but I have the Free Your Mind Spoken Word Jazz Cafe, where it's at like a jazz cafe. So it's mostly the adults were the ones to perform there, and this is more for the youth to get their to start out here. So it's the 1st year for the Free Your Mind Youth Explosion. For the Youth Explosion. For the Youth Explosion. But you've had Free Your Mind. The jazz, the Spoken Word Jazz Cafe. Okay. Yes, that's 3 years. Yeah. Okay. And when is that usually? This year is going to be in August. Okay. So I look forward to that. Yes. I'm definitely excited about the Youth Explosion. I do a lot of work with the youth. Okay. Awesome. So your organization is called Healing Hearts Through the Arts. Yes. And why was that? Why did you start that organization? So Healing Hearts Through the Arts came about 6 years ago, and I was trying to find a way to help the youth, not just come at them and bombard them with dealing with mental illness. I deem myself a victorious survivor over mental illness. Victorious survivor. Yes, and meaning that it's over mental illness, because I've found some things to help me to get over them, which is the arts, because I wasn't able to like verbally communicate to anyone what's going on. It's like grew up in a household of 15 children, and it's kind of hard sometimes, worshiping, you get kind of lost in the crowd, especially if you're quiet and meek and mild like I was. So we weren't taught that we could express ourselves. My parents, was much older, so sometimes in house, so if you're not able to express yourself, you have to just find a way. And so it was the arts, especially the theater, that I could become someone else, and I could pretend, okay, I'm not at home, I'm somewhere else, I'm somebody else. And then I was able to, it was liberating. It's like I was able to be freed. Right. Yeah. I can totally agree with that. And so where are you located, in what age groups do you work with in total? I know for the performers, you said it's 12 and up at the performance next week. Like five and up. I can, because at 5 years old, they can pretty much, understand. So in fact, we're having one of the events that's coming up in May is a vision board party. Ooh, and so we're going to have as of now, the date I believe is May 18th, but I'll confirm that as well. So we're going to start out with the vision board party. And at 5 years old, they're able to do something. Even if they put an X on the paper, we're putting it in a frame and we're putting it on a wall. Okay. Because we're taking them for whatever they can do, because that's how they're going to express themselves. And,
right.
You know, it's like we're not grading it or rating them. Oh, okay, you're this or that. Whatever they do, and we're just gonna be proud of them and let them know. Oh, wow, you did it. Oh man, that's awesome. You know, and just encourage them to continue to do whatever it is that they would like to do, and to find out what it is that they want to do, because then you find out, because they have a vision, and if we start them that young by having a vision, doing their vision board party, and then they'll look forward to a year after year, and then they'll see they can accomplish those goals, and they can just mark them off. You know, imagine a 5-year-old with a vision, and by the time they come 13, they could be, CEO of their own company, right? Or what have you, right? You know, so.
And to your point, I was driving last week, and I saw a marquee, and it said, "The earlier you learn, the earlier you become a success." Mm-hmm. And so that fits right in with what you just said. Yes. And I totally agree with that, because I was 30 before I discovered my talents. I mean, when I was younger, I could dance, but I didn't consider dancing a talent. I just thought it was something fun to do. Thank you, Michael Jackson, for teaching me how to dance. His Thriller video taught me how to dance. Wow. But and so I discovered my other talents, which there are a lot, when I was 30, and I'm 44 now, and now things are just starting to come together, like you said. So it's a process, which I don't think most people understand. It's a long process, doing things the right way in the entertainment industry. It's a long process, and so I think it's great starting, because a lot of people think that 5 years old is too young to teach children, and they don't know anything, they can't do anything, this, that, and the other. But I tell people all the time, never underestimate the power and the things that our young folks can do, because there are some amazing young people out here. I'm gonna bring you guys in 1 second. So what all services do you offer through Healing Hearts Through the Arts? Okay,
so the first thing we do is a vision board party. To find out what it is that they want to do. Okay. The next thing we have lined up, I have a young lady. She's about 16 years old. She will be performing at the event. She's doing dance. She's doing like African dance, so she's going to teach them. So it's going to be a dance workshop, and all those dates and the times will come. So we're going to do a dance workshop. I have someone that's going to teach them how to make jewelry. Okay. I have someone that's going to teach them how to make flowers, potpourri, or what have you. And so they're going to come in. I have someone who is a music therapist. And so we have all these different workshops. So this is April. So by the end of the summer, when we have the Spoken Word Jazz Cafe, when we have that, some of those youth will be vendors. So if they would have made items, if they would have did visual, work or what have you, whatever, if they would have danced or whatever they would have done, they can now become vendors. They can now have a product to sell. Right. So you give them the vision, and then you help them achieve it, and then now they can have their own thing. They can just find their way. Okay. Milyssa and Jamilah, how did you guys get involved in the arts? How did you discover your talents? Mm-hmm. Go ahead, Jamilah.
Well, when I was young, I always had a passion for the entertainment industry. I actually used to sing and dance. But my mother took me on the set of Star, which was the pilot, and I fell in love with everything. It just looked like magic to me, how everything was put together, from the cameras to the lights to the actors. And right then I knew that I wanted to act. Like, this is something I really enjoyed. Okay. Yes.
And so what were your first steps in getting started in the entertainment industry?
So first, my mother had to talk with me to make sure I'm not just jumping into something. This is something that I really want to do.
Yeah, children tend to do that sometimes. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to do this. Then 5 days later, they uninterested.
So after them, I had went on maybe 2 more sets to make sure this is something that I really want to do again. Right. Then we went looking for an agency to go sign with, and
voila.
Yeah. I booked a few more roles, and once you book one thing, everything really just falls into place once they see how talented you are.
Right.
Like, this is a talent, and this is something that you enjoy.
Okay.
Because a lot of people get into jobs that they do not enjoy. And
oh yeah.
and they tend on quitting after a short period of time. So
you okay? Well, you're an actress. How long have you been acting now?
About 3 years.
And what's the name of your agency?
Well, I'm signed with the agency in LA right now.
Oh, fancy. Okay.
EMG.
I'm gonna need you to know the name of your agency.
Yes.
Okay. That's
and
pretty important.
One down here, the Bell Agency in Ursula Whiteman.
Okay. Well, congratulations, and I wish you much success.
Thank you.
Miss Rose, how did you get started in entertainment and discover your gifts and talents?
When I was a little girl, I was the only child, and when MTV actually played music videos, I saw Madonna and Michael Jackson and Cyndi Lauper, and I was very inspired by them. My mom always saw me entertaining for my stuffed animals. And you
were entertaining your stuffed animals.
I didn't have any siblings, so I put on a show for them. And my mom saw that I really liked singing, and I was always very creative, so she got me an agent. I was into modeling, and I did commercials, and I did theater. And as I grew older, I realized I really wanted to write my own music. So I started working with producers when I got out of high school, and I didn't really want to sing other people's songs. I said, you know what, I want to do my own thing. So I just started, working with different people in the business and creating and doing videos and writing my own music and putting out my CDs and trying to get my music played. So that was, my mom really pushed me a lot because I was just like, this is what I want to do. Like, I want to be a star, Mom.
Right.
And I was always such a ham, so she knew that this is what I wanted to do. So there was no pushing. And my mom was a stage mom. She was like, whatever you want to do it. If you don't, when it's not fun anymore, stop doing it. And that's what I've always lived by. It's what my husband tells me. When it's not fun anymore, then don't do it anymore. Okay.
Well, I think that people who are only children have some of the best imaginations on the planet because, like you said, you don't have siblings. So, yeah, that gives you room to be more creative at a younger age. And apparently, I'm sure your stuffed animals enjoyed your your entertainment. And I want to thank them for giving you the inspiration and courage to continue and be here with us today. All right. So, Angela, how did you involve mental health awareness with the arts?
One of the main reasons because I needed something that was tangible, something that I could hold on to, something that could give me hope or what have you. And so I had auditioned at our high school for a dance theater company. And it was through that dance that I found my way. It's like I needed something. So when I auditioned for that, they said you had 20 points. And so I got 19 out of 20 points. So they said that you didn't make it. And I'm trying to figure out, okay, why? Because 19 out of 20, it's 1 point. And so it said
what was it for?
It was a dance, just just, and you can, you could have chosen, either anything you wanted. So they said there was you dance to African. And I said,
you danced too? Oh,
yeah, wow. It was an African dance. So, okay. So it's like everybody else had their own thing. So I just wasn't, gonna take that. So I said, okay, you know what? I think it's just them. So they didn't understand that I needed to dance.
Right.
I had to find something. So saw in a newspaper they were looking for dancers and actors. And it was called Run by Dancing Theater. And so the whole night couldn't hardly hear because of the drums. They were just, I was like, okay, I'll hear. I kept saying her, my godmother, who she's transitioned, she was like, kept asking her, did I make it? Am I in? Or what have you? She was like, oh, just go ahead, just dance. I was like, okay, did I make it? Like, you don't know, I need to know this. And at the end of the night, she's like, you made it. And so it was like a day of a liberation. It's like, I made it. Like, I danced and I needed to have,
Excuse me 1 second. We got a phone call. Hey.
Sounds pretty nice.
Right. Good evening, caller. Thank you for tuning in to WCEG talkradio.com. What is your question and or comment, please? Caller, you there?
Hi.
Hey.
Hi, I'm actually trying to find you guys. Find the show. I was under every menu option, and I'm not seeing the show. I see where it says live. It says live show, but there's nothing showing. It's blank.
Is the play button?
Yeah, it's not showing me anything. I've tried it on 2 different devices.
Okay, you can go to you have YouTube. If you go to YouTube and type in WCEG Network, you can catch us on there.
Okay, or you guys are streaming live on YouTube right now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Right. And this is the show for Miss Milyssa Rose, right?
Milyssa Rose, Angela Crook, and Jamilah Muhammad. Yes, ma'am. Okay. Want to say hi, Milyssa?
Hey, girl, how are you?
Hey, gorgeous, how are you? I'm trying to find. I'm like, where is it? I'm like, it's so. I'm looking like, okay. So I just recorded, so I could say, okay, I'm not going crazy. I'm like looking, and just searching. I said, I don't give up. I said, I'm going to just call the number. If I call the number, then maybe then they can just guide me true.
Okay. Well, so thank you for calling in, ma'am. You should go go to YouTube, type in WCEG Network, and we should pop right up. You'll see the picture of everyone sitting at a table.
I see you talking with them locks in your hair, and the lady sitting next to you with red dress on, or red shirt.
Hey, what, you the feds? You the feds? Hold on, man. Yes, that is us. Thank you, ma'am. You have a good evening.
Thank you for calling.
Thanks. Of course, love.
All right.
All right, thank you.
All right, I'll watch it now on YouTube.
All right, thank you, ma'am. Enjoy. All right, thank you, ma'am.
Bye.
We have to make sure all of our listeners are plugged in correctly. Yes. So thank you for calling, ma'am. We do want you to be able to listen in and tune in to the show. Where were we?
You're talking about the connection.
Connection with mental health and the arts. Yes.
Okay. So end up was able to be a part of the dance theater. And so it was then because not being accepted at one, but then accepting at another part. It's like I was able to dance and I was able to free myself because dealing with mental illness sometimes I felt like caged, like a caged bird. I felt like, darkness and couldn't figure it out. And if in your household it's not talked about or in your community it's not talked about,
right,
what do? You're made to feel as though something's wrong, something's going on. So I knew something was wrong, but I couldn't figure it out. I had suppressed so many different things. So as a child, I was violated. So it's like I suppressed it. It's like I didn't remember it until like years later in therapy and counseling and all that. Yeah. So it was the arts. I just knew if I could dance, I could be free. I could free myself and I didn't have to think about what was happening, that I couldn't understand other stuff or other people couldn't understand me because I was called weird and crazy and all this stuff. And I'm thinking like, okay, something is wrong here. I don't think it's me. I think it's them. Just because, if it's everyone over here to the side and they're pointing at you, you're like, well, dang, maybe something is wrong. And I'm thinking, I think it's them. And I got to figure this out somehow.
Right.
So the singing, the dancing, the arts, it was during those places and times I was like lifted up and I was like, wait a minute, I'm not the greatest singer, but I love to sing. But in my mind, I'm the best singer. And I'm just like, oh man, but I knew I wasn't trying to be a professional singer. But when it came to the acting and the dancing, again, I could be someone else other than what I was, like I had a voice because my voice was silenced. But then I had a voice when I was, when I'm acting or when I'm dancing, I can just go to another part of myself. And as I began working, so when I saw that worked for me, I saw other young kids like myself, and I wouldn't just go up to them and say, hey, you have a problem, an issue. I was like, come here, let's go over here, let me show you this dance. And then they will open up a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Because you just can't say, hey, I think you're dealing with some stuff. They're going to shut down.
They're going to say, who are you? Yeah, like, what are you talking about?
And so some of my friends and families, and they would say, if their kid was going through something, can you talk to them? I was like, sure, send them over. Okay, let's go draw something. You know what I'm saying? So let them just find their way. And I knew that it worked. And so started doing things like showing them how to do, we did like shirts, some tie-dye shirts, and they were able to be creative. I was like, we could sell these, so just letting them find their way with whatever they were doing, even if they didn't want to speak, even if they just want to sit and watch. Just let them be. They may not want to participate, but you just gotta, if you see a child, like, I used to wear all dark clothes and all that. Oh, you not even aware.
Lord, what they call them?
When you're gothic.
Yeah, you was a goth.
Yeah, but only I wasn't aware of that. My godmother, she's like, you wear, not purposely, like I didn't even, I was wearing dark, like browns and blues and black, and I didn't even know. And so, I was told that even my countenance was dark. It's like, what do you mean? It's like everything is dark. So after I, gone through some of the things, counseling and stuff, and I just was able to free myself, there's like, your face has changed. And I was like, what do you mean? Like, they're like, we see this thing lifted off of you. And it's like, when I began to help the other kids and I saw them, I had one young lady, and I can't remember her name, but she was going through some things, and she was like, you helped me. And I was like, I really can't take credit for that, because it's something that was inside of her already. It just needed to be brought out. And she's a spoken word artist. She can, sing and dance. And now she's people have invited her to come and do so many things. And I was like, yeah, because it's like, I know that this works.
Yeah.
I know that together. And it's like, it has been proven that music is one of the things, it heals the mind, it heals the soul, heals the body. That even if you're not the greatest singer, it's something that's like, like we're vibration. It's something inside of you, like, like when I sing, I be a couple of notes off, but to me, I'm the best singer for myself. And it's like, there's just a freeing of the spirit. And because I felt as though my spirit was caged, I just found ways, again, singing, dancing, acting, or helping someone else. And just trying to find a way just to be at peace.
Right.
And that's where I am now. I'm at peace. And, if anything causes me my peace, then that price is too much.
Oh boy. You say that again. Lord have mercy. Amen.
Yes.
I have to give you that one. Okay, so let me understand this. So you went through some childhood trauma.
Yes.
It was repressed.
Yes.
As you got older and you got involved with the arts, you found it to be freedom,
liberation. Yes.
Liberation. You've used that word like 4 times.
Because it's, man. Yeah.
So, well, let me ask you ladies, Jamilah, the arts and being freeing and liberating. What does that mean to you? Do you agree, disagree?
I agree.
Okay.
When I'm not the type of person to really express my feelings. So I express it through drawing or acting and modeling, dancing, singing. That's the way I express myself. A lot of younger kids don't really know how to express themselves.
A lot of grown-ups don't either.
So,
but it starts in youth, and youth that don't learn how to express themselves become adults who don't know how to express themselves. So it's good, you or anybody else discovers that early, to be able to have that outlet, because it's important to have an outlet, because that, serious childhood trauma or things we go through in life, if we keep it bottled up, it can literally tear you apart from the inside. Milyssa, what about you? The arts, liberation. They go hand in hand?
No, I agree with that completely. I mean, all my life I've kind of dealt with different things. I was different in school. I grew up in an all-white community. I was the only half Asian girl. So that, I got slack for that. People, do you know karate? Were your parents in the war?
This stereotypical
the most ridiculous questions ever. And it was my escape. It's my therapy. Even to this day, I deal with a lot of mental health issues, especially with self-image. I look on the TV, nobody looks like me. I don't, is this big enough? Is this small enough? On my body. I've always dealt with that. I've had this pressure to look, quote unquote, perfect.
Right.
And I dealt with that a lot last year. Like for 6 months, I literally was in a deep depression.
Wow.
Like I never really disclosed that to anyone, where I didn't even really want to do music anymore.
Oh, wow.
And I discovered that, I need to do something that's going to make me happy, because if I'm not doing music, if I'm not, using my voice to lift others, because I know there's people that email me all the time that say, oh, I love what you're doing. You inspire me. I love that song. It's very empowering. And I'm like, that's what I want to do. That's worth it to me. And I would always be very hard on myself because I was like, how come I'm not on the billboard? How come I'm not Nicki Minaj? How come and somebody told me, it's like, you do things for people that you impact their lives more than you know. Like when you do charity work or when you speak to someone who's going through something, that means the world to somebody. And that's true. I mean, I know that might sound, ooh, unicorns and rainbows. But it's facts. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, you have to be bettering yourself and bettering other people because that's what it's about. Because when I die, like, I can't take a bag of money with me.
Right, yeah.
Exactly. So, I have to be a good person while I'm here.
Right. Angela, back to you. Why do you think there's such a stigma around mental health in general, especially in the Black community? Because you say mental health in the Black community, somebody has throw a brick at you.
I think one of the main reasons is because we're uninformed about a lot of things, and just culturally and just throughout history, we deal with so many different things, but if no one ever talks about it,
right,
it's just gonna continue to go on. Like now, had a conversation with someone on the way over here. If someone needs medicine for high blood pressure or diabetes, and you'll say, "Oh, I gotta go get medicine for this," or what have you. If someone needs medicine for schizophrenia, depression, you're not gonna say, "I gotta go get Zoloft or Paxil or what have you." You're just like, and it's like, why? Why can't you do that? Because if we don't come together collectively and just say that it's okay. If someone has to just, we have to keep having that conversation. So, okay, what are you taking? I'm taking Zoloft. Oh, really? I'm taking that for like what? You have to. It has to be known that you're okay with, to speak about it.
Right.
Because if you don't speak about it and say your family, then no one speaks about it, and it's like, oh, okay, oh, she's going through something. But what is she going through? And why do you have to hide it? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, if one person says something and then you can, have that conversation and you just continue it like from family to family. And that's why we're doing here with Healing Hearts of the Arts. It's like, it has to be, it's okay to take medicine for what have you. It's the brain. And sometimes what happens is, sometimes, you're born with it, may be hereditary or what have you. I had an aunt that didn't know what she had. All I knew is that my parents would go to this one city and we'd be in the car and we'd stay. And then one of the parents would go in and one would come out. We didn't know what was happening, but she would come to our house and she would sometimes, talk to herself and, we didn't know. We were thinking like, this is just on, it's time to eat or whatever. We didn't, because they didn't treat her like something is wrong with her, but they still didn't tell us because, you're a kid, so you don't need to know all that stuff. But just as I got older, I realized, oh, wow, she was in a facility. She needed help, but she didn't do anything to us because some people are afraid of what they're going to do. If you took a poll, probably everybody in this building or, everybody's on something. Everybody goes through something, but you don't want to talk about it. But why? If you're married, you should be able to tell your husband, your spouse, your wife, your family, your church, what have you. You should be able to just come out and say, hey, I'm having a bad day. And it's not that you're just having a bad day. It's like, I'm kind of stuck here and I don't really know how to get out. And maybe you can't even help me get out, but at least just listen to me.
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, just
understand
that I don't know what's happening. Because I know for myself, I didn't know what I was dealing with because it had never been talked about. Just hearing you weird and crazy and all that, that's not helping me.
Right, yeah.
It's like something else is going on. And didn't really get a diagnosis until I was around about like 25. And it was like, everything was, coming down. So it's like, one of my managers like, Angela, you're breaking my heart. And I'm like, okay, what's going on? And I didn't even know, like, is something really, really, really bad. I need to go get some help. So that's when I got the counseling, the therapy and all that. And I was like, oh, okay. It's just a part of something else. Is just, you just need a little more help,
Okay. Milyssa, why do you think we have such a negative stigma around mental illness?
I think a lot of people have a lot of pride. And nobody, I know for me, I'm very closed off with what I discuss with people because people don't really like problems. That's how I mean, in general.
Right, yeah.
You got enough going on your plate.
People feel like they go.
So why do I need to listen to your problems? And that's why I kind of clam up and I'm very selective with who I speak to because I feel like I know this doesn't sound like paranoia, but not everyone is your friend. Like
some people, that's not paranoia. That's true. That's true.
They want to listen to your problems so that way they can use them against you later.
Yeah,
but I think that's why it's a pride thing, and it could be embarrassing. I mean, and I think that's why a lot of people don't come out about it. Yeah. And I think it's very important. People always say, always check on your friends, the ones that are smiling all the time, because those are the ones that have the issues. And I truly believe that. Some of the people that you think are the strongest, you have no idea what they're going through. So I try to make it an effort with people in my life to see how they're doing.
Right.
Yeah. And, making sure they know that I care, because you never know what someone's going through, and you want to be that ear for them.
That is very true. Jamilah, what about you? Why do you think there's such a negative stigma around mental illness?
Fear.
Ooh. Good one.
Me personally, I haven't done with mental illness, and I don't hear the topic of mental illness a lot.
Okay.
That's why I found it for myself so important to be a part of this event. Just so not only me personally could educate myself on mental illness, but other people as well.
Okay.
I hear people with mental illness have a fear of being judged a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. Most definitely. Yeah. And that's why I was going to say, when you said listening is important, I was going to throw in the caveat, listening without judgment is important. Because, like you said, people do fear being judged, and like you said, everybody is going through something. But if I take the time to listen to your issues, you take the time to listen to my issues, somewhere in there we're gonna help each other.
Yes.
Somewhere along the line, if we're genuinely listening and want to help each other, I mean, that has no choice but to happen if you're coming into that space with those intentions, with someone with the same intentions. So Angela, what do we do to move past the negative stigma of mental illness to get people to come forward and be more willing to come forward and share what it is they're going, whether it's with somebody they know or whether it's in private?
Have conversations like these in the schools, in the churches, community centers. From what I've read, a lot of the arts and different programs have been taken out of the schools.
Yep.
And so what are the kids supposed to do? So you have to just continue to have these conversations, and you have to implement some kind of program. Just like when anything comes up, it's always, okay, we have to add this to the curriculum. We have to do, okay, so mental health is first and foremost before the computer classes. I'm not saying, everything is, you deal with computers, but some things you can't just go to school every day and it's like, okay, you're at this computer every day. And then when you come home, your homework, now you don't really have to have a tablet, but not like, it's like, you just get on your computer every day. The games, anything you want to do is on the computer. Kids don't even go outside anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like you're inside. So when I see kids riding a bike, I'm like, yeah, but it's like it has to be brought, because
that is sad.
We
get excited to see children playing outside these days.
Yeah, I think that's the problem. That kids are so caught up on social media platforms. And now there's all these things with like cyberbullying. And then if you go on Instagram, I mean, everyone is so perfect. And it just, what do you think that does to a kid? I think parents need to be also really hands-on with their children.
Yes.
As well, because with my issues, they didn't start until I came out of high school, because I came out of an abusive relationship. So that's when I got kind of spun out of control for me. But I think also at home, the parents need to be very active in what's going on in their kids' lives. Like, what are they doing? What are you watching? Because things now on TV and on YouTube, I mean, kids are very impressionable. They think sometimes they think it looks cool to be on drugs, to be on these pharmaceuticals that get you high, or it's cool to be depressed. I know for a while there, people are like, oh, it's so cool to commit suicide. It's so cool to be depressed. No, it's not. It's not cool to be depressed.
It's not.
It's awful. I mean, it's something I wouldn't wish on anyone.
And what, you gonna say something?
Yeah, because it's like there are people trying to get out of it and they don't know how. They're trying to find different ways. So it's much harder when they're judged. Mm-hmm. It's like, you know what? They're like, I'm not going to even talk about it. I'm just going to keep it to myself. And then that's when you just go in this, dark place.
Thank you for that, ma'am. I was reading this comment up on the screen. Mm-hmm. There's some chats going on. That says, Impression of yours. Plus, unfortunately, if you have a mental illness, you're treated like a deadly virus. Wow. Whoa. The comment kind of went away, but that's. Here's a couple more. Whoa. Treated like a deadly virus. Do you know how powerful that is?
No, I believe it. I do think so.
It's sad.
And you want to comment on that? Well, I want to go back to what Milyssa said about, parents being more aware of what's going on with their children, especially paying attention to what's going on the internet and YouTube. And I want to bring up Momo. Everybody know about Momo?
Yeah.
Everybody know about Momo?
Yes.
If you're out there listening,
I know about that girl.
And you don't know about Momo, there was something going on a couple of months ago called the Momo Challenge. And Momo is this very creepy looking, chicken looking doll. And she dares children to do certain things, which can be very dangerous, especially if you're dealing with a child that's dealing with depression or maybe having suicidal thoughts. And I think there was a movement to get Momo banned, and I don't know where that is, if anybody knows. But
yeah, I haven't heard anything about it since.
Yes, they might have got rid of Momo, but I'm sure you can still go on YouTube and Google Momo or Momo Challenge. One of the I was at the school today that I work with, and we were supposed to have a rehearsal for our talent shows coming up in May. Okay. But they canceled the rehearsal because of testing. So we're in there, and the children are drawing on the board. And one of the children, he had to be 6 or 7. He draws a picture of Momo. Whoa. And writes Momo. I thought it said Mama at first, but then the other children were like, no, he drawing Momo. He drawing Momo. Wow. And then the lady was like, what's Momo? And we told her what it was. And she was like, oh, no, you need to get that evilness off my board because we don't do evil. It's a chick. It's a doll on YouTube, and it dares children to do certain tasks. And
I heard it pops up on like
the cartoons.
The children. Yeah, that's what it shows up on.
I didn't know that part.
Yeah, it's not for adults. It's for children.
Yeah, but it dares the children to do certain. I dare you to go steal money from your parent or something. Yeah, it's crazy stuff. And then it'll even dare you to hurt yourself.
If they don't do it.
It'll dare you to beat up another child. It'll dare you to hurt yourself. Like, are you kidding? Yeah, and it's just freely available on YouTube, like, to be found. Well, it was. I think a lot of parents have been complaining about it lately, so I'm hoping there is something about it. Wow. But it's out there. That type of stuff is out there. So how do we protect our children from the Momos of the world? Because that just reminded me of the Slender Man Challenge. Everybody remember the Slender Man Challenge? 2 years ago, it was a Slender Man Challenge. It's tall, skinny, shadowy figure that children had to summon, and then I don't know exactly what they did with Momo with Slender Man, but I do know that 2 12-year-old girls tricked another classmate into coming in the woods with them, and they stabbed her in the woods, and they said that Slender Man told them to do it. Oh my God. Okay. So this stuff is out there, and it's you get rid of one because after that incident, Slender Man went away.
But doesn't that help? I mean, doesn't that give parents it should give more incentive to be mindful of what their children are doing, or letting the devices babysit?
Right, you would think so.
The TV and the
you would think
but then again, like, the parents have to be aware though. Like the 2 12-year-old girls who killed the other girl, their parents had no idea they were trying to summon Slender Man. So you have to communicate. You have to have these conversations with your children about what's going on. Because you can ask a child, "What'd you do at school today?" "Oh, nothing." And now they want to go in the room and play. And so you have to have detailed communication with your child. Don't just let them say, "Oh, nothing happened at school today," and that be it. Right. Because you've been in school for 7 hours. Like, something went on today.
Okay, a couple more of your comments just to acknowledge your chat here. Expressionally yours totally understands and definitely relates. Also, mental illness isn't tunnel vision. Although a lot of people's ignorance about mental illness is some people's mental illnesses show through their tempers.
Right.
And then Sophia says, okay, hi. Next one, very uneducated about mental illness in the melanated community as a whole. You're mocked, bullied, abused, and the platform for everyone's jokes. And then others have just joined in to talk about pride, which was mentioned, and then you don't want to bother anyone. Fear was another agreement that when someone stated fear, and let me see if there's any more. Just wanted to take away it takes away your independence, and a judge will let them get power of attorney over you. However, if a person's mental illness cause him or her to commit a horrific crime, but that same judge will reject the individual. So they have just been, I guess, giving comments based on the conversation. So we'll kind of keep up as you all make points. Then I'll let you know what comes over the chat window. Okay. But it has drawn a lot of conversation joining the conversation.
Well, thank you to those out there listening, and thank you to everybody leaving comments also. I want to give out a number before we continue to the National Suicide Prevention Hotline. That number is 1-800-273-TALK, 1-800-273-TALK, 8255, 1-800-273-8255. And I forgot which one of my previous guests was on here before, but they said to do these 3 things right here, which is question, persuade, and refer. Question anyone who you think may be having suicidal thoughts or dealing with depression. Persuade them to get help, and refer them to someone who can help them. So question, persuade, and refer. I think that it might have been Pauline. And also you can text CONNECT, CONNECT, to 741-741. That's also a suicide prevention hotline. Text CONNECT, CONNECT, to 741-741. So when you're doing your Free Your Mind Youth Exposure, or you're going to do it, the people who are involved, do they, with your organization, do they talk to you about mental health issues they be dealing with, or do you encourage them to seek help elsewhere?
The youth or the artists, the participants? Both. Okay. As far as the youth, sometimes there are referrals from friends or family, and so we don't diagnose them with anything. We it's just still more just about the arts. We don't. We have some people on the staff that are therapists or counselors, what have you. So the youth can talk to the parents, and youth can talk to them. Okay. You know what I'm saying? So, but some of the people who are artists, a lot of them deal with mental illness, which I didn't know until last year. I mean, they've been working with me, but one person got the ball rolling. I think it was my nephew. He was talking, and then some of the other people, like he dealt with PTSD, and then some of the other people deal with schizophrenia, what have you. I didn't know what all they dealt with. I knew they were dealing with some different things, but it just opened up the door, and it's like everybody started like talking and saying. So I was like, wow, you know. And it's like one person does crochet, and she makes jewelry, and she's like, this is my therapy. You know, another person is a jazz singer. It's like, that's my therapy. And I was like, oh, I didn't. Another person is a photographer, and it's like I just had no idea what the things that they were doing. They were just doing it to help, but it's like, no, we need to do this. Had one person call me. She was like, are you doing the event this year? It was about 9:00 in the morning, and I was like, okay. First of all, I wanted to know if she was okay. You know, it was early, not like, oh, you're waking me, but are you okay? Because it was through Messenger, and she was like, no, are you doing that event? Because I need it. And I was like, whoa, because I was thinking, you know, should I do it, or, you know, am I getting enough support? And I was like, oh no, that's the call. I really need to do it, because she needs that. She's like, you know, 9:00 in the morning, you're just like, you know, you're barely awake. She was like, no, are you doing that? And she's like, can I volunteer? And I was like, yes, we're going to do this, because you think you're doing it for not really for yourself, but sometimes that's to free yourself, but it helps so many people. Milyssa. When Milyssa, I heard about Milyssa through a good friend, Cassandra. And when I saw some of the videos, and I was like, oh, wow. It's like, it's cool, just the whole personality. So when one of the songs that she sang last year was This Is Me. And that song is like so powerful. I don't know all the words, but some of the words, it's like when the sharpest words try to cut you down. And it's like, whoa, it's like I'm going to send a flood and drown him out. Like, whoa. You mean it's like a person, words can like trying to tear somebody up. And it's like, I'm going to send a flood to drown him out. And it's like, you know, I'm brave, I'm me. And it's like, I saw Milyssa doing that song and I was like, I think that's why I was crying the whole time. But it's like, it's something that was invoked inside her when she began to sing. I was like, I'm like right there in the stage, but she was just, I mean, it was amazing.
Oh, thank you.
So thank you. So it was like, and just seeing that and just seeing people, you know, bring things to life. With Jamilah, one of my characters is called Little Nikki. And when I met Jamilah, I was like, there's this character, went over the whole thing, and I was like, and the character's Little Nikki. And I think she like screamed or something. She was like, they call me Little Nikki. And I was like, no. She has to get her mother and stuff. And I was like, okay, that's my character. So a couple of weeks ago, we had a rehearsal, and she brought this character to life. And it's just amazing. But it was just amazing because when you gosh, I wasn't gonna do this, but it's just something about, thank you, when you've been told like you're weird and all that stuff, and then you know, okay, it's something else bigger than that that's inside of you, so you keep going, and you write a vision. Well, how do you write a vision? A vision is given to you. So you write it down, and then you know, you just reach out, or you just wait till it's the right people, you know, to come along. And so when I saw her, I knew it's almost like 2 years ago. I knew she was Little Nikki. I was like, she's this character, because Little Nikki is dealing with not really mental illness. They want to put her on medication and all that. And she's like, no, I'm not having that. I just got to get to somebody. And the other character is Mama Rose. If I could just get to Mama Rose. And I'm not a Bible scholar, but what happens is that I believe we're a spirit. And so this character is like, where it says, if I could touch the hem of his garment, and I don't know where that is. And it's like, hope, if I could just get to this Mama Rose, if I can get to her, like I know she's there and everything is going to be okay. I just got to get to her, because I don't care what y'all talking about. I got to get to her. And she goes like she's her savior. And so as a child, I needed a savior. And so this character came, and I had a you know, a godmother, a couple of godmothers. They were my savior. And so this character came about. It's like, I was told that characters speak to you and say, write me. So Little Nikki's like, right, like this character came to life. And so when she did the performance, it was so amazing. And she will be performing at the event. It's like she brought that character to life, and I was like, wow, this is what it's all about. Because when you think you're doing something for yourself, you're doing something for someone else. Right. And Milyssa has this one song, I forgot the name of it, but it has to do with peace.
Oh, Turn the Page.
Yeah, Turn the Page. I said that's my anthem, and it is so amazing. It's like it has always been about finding peace. And that's what happened. So I was like, okay, Milyssa, I need you back again here. Like, you got to sing that song. And so everybody brings something. When we think we're all broken inside, just like a crayon. I've heard crayons. They still color.
Yep.
Where, you know, they still color. So you're just coming together, and where you're thinking you're trying to do something for yourself or free yourself, you end up freeing a whole lot of people. And it just encouraged you to go on to, you know, it's like what I have thought, like, me, you know, trying to just hang in there, but it's not trying to hang in there. It's like you're here, and you just keep pushing on because someone else is listening. You know, for all the people that, you know, performed last year, about 10 or 12 of them said they're dealing with some type of mental illness. And I'm thinking, are you kidding me? Like, you mean, and I never knew about, they're just coming. I'm thinking, they're just coming to help. It's like, no, they're like, this has helped me. This is helping me. And it's like, whenever I call upon him, it's like, yeah, okay, I'll be there. I'm coming. And I'm like, really? You know, I had some people coming from out of town, Alabama, to the rehearsal. I was like, you know, it's here in Atlanta. And they're like, what time and where? And I was like, are you serious? They're like, no, I need to do this. And so I just thank everybody for coming together for the cause, because it's not just for one person, it's for everybody. And we just need to come back together. And we need to just have this talk. We need to talk about it just as easy as we're just sitting here now talking about pizza or something. You know, it needs to be that. It needs to be talked about. It needs to be that comfortable. We need to feel that comfortable with talking about it because it's our lives, it's our mind, and we have a very powerful mind. You know, and so we can just take all that energy that we use to talk negative stuff or judge people, take that same energy and just listen. Sometimes they don't want you to just listen to them. Yeah, you know,
very true. And tell the people where, when the event is.
The event is April the 27th. It's in the West End, is 640 Cafe, and it's going to be from 4:30 to 7 p.m. And you can I'm on Facebook as well as Instagram. It's Angela Crook _9, I believe, and then just my name, Angela Crook, on Facebook, and all the information is there. And there's a flyer as well.
Okay. Impressionally yours says cry, let it out, because it's very emotional to battle a mental illness. I mean, it is. Yes. I mean, and it's to even talk about the stuff.
Yes.
Sophia Johnson, one of your guests, Jamilah, has a journal writing.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Has a journal writing is powerful to get some of your feelings out. Thank you. Yes. Thank you for the comments, everyone. Yes. Thank you. What? Uh-oh.
Phenomenal. The lyrics in her song.
Oh. Yes.
Yes. Milyssa Rose is phenomenal. Amazing. The lyrics in her songs are powerful.
They are.
Oh, thank you.
They are.
Yeah, she's a special character.
Yes, I love that song.
Jamilah. Yes. So, what exactly? She just kind of mentioned what you're doing, but tell everybody exactly what you're going to be doing at the Free Your Mind Youth Explosion.
Well, I'm gonna be acting as the character Little Nikki.
So you're in a play or a skit?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So she's going through a lot of things. I don't want to give out too much information.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they got to come. They got to buy some tickets.
Yes, buy some tickets. Come on down so we can help some kids.
She's going through a lot of things, and her safe zone is really Mama Rose.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying not to give out a lot of information at the same time, but her safe zone is Mama Rose, and Mama Rose is really the person who helps her and a lot of things because nobody else gets what she's going through but Mama Rose. Mama Rose is there to listen. Mm-hmm. She may not tell you what you want to hear, but she will tell you what you need to hear.
Absolutely.
And yes.
Okay, that's excellent. Looking forward to it. Miss Rose, what are you going to be doing in singing? Let me just say that.
I'll be singing This Is Me from The Greatest Showman.
Yes.
That's a very powerful song because it's sung by the bearded lady in The Greatest Showman. And she's always felt very freakish and that nobody really accepted her. And that resonates with me because I've always felt like I was kind of like the odd man out. And then Angela requested I do a song called Turn the Page, which is awesome because I actually wrote that song when I was coming out of what I was going through.
Okay.
And it was a way of, kind of like you said, liberating for me. Yes. It was kind of like an awakening of let's put this behind me and, focus on something more positive. Because I think I know for me, when you're depressed, you only focus on what's negative. And I think in society, period.
Yeah.
We have to really count our blessings.
Yes.
And I think it's very, very important that we need to just really resonate positivity wherever we go. And that has a lot to do with it as well, surrounding yourself with like positive people. And that's what the song's really about, protecting your peace, being around people that uplift you, people that motivate you, people that aren't always like negative Nancy's. Because that's going to get in your head and you're going to start thinking that way. Yeah. So that's basically what the song's about, is like turning a new leaf and, going down a different road.
Okay, excellent. I'm looking forward to both of you ladies.
Thank you.
I'm really looking forward to the entire event. And like I told you before, anything I can do to help, just let me know. But I will definitely be there.
Awesome.
I will.
Thank you.
So I think you mentioned earlier something about schools and churches. What roles, let's talk about schools. Mm-hmm. What roles should schools play in dealing with the mental health of the students there? Because we know students go through stuff every day. You mentioned bullying, physical bullying, cyberbullying, all this bullying, and all of it's illegal now. So what should the schools be doing to help alleviate some of the mental health issues that the children deal with?
We should bring people into the schools to ask the children what they're going through, bring them into the schools and like have some, like maybe once a month or something like that to find out what the kids are dealing with. But sometimes you just can't, you know, say, hey, are you dealing with depression or what have you? Have a space and a place, like a, not really like a therapy room, but sort of something in there that they could be at peace if they want to put on headphones or do some kind of art or something. Have somewhere. It could be just a small room, but just have an area if like throughout the day they're having a bad day. They can go if they know how to play the piano, play the piano. If if there's artwork, if they can do, just have some place where they can go because they can become so bombarded with so much stuff that they just, you know, maybe they can't make it till they go home because, or even when they get home, they're like, they never want to come out again. You know what I'm saying? They have those thoughts. But if they can just go to a safe place, and it's like not be judged, because a lot of kids, again, who are taking medication and stuff like that, they don't tell anybody, or they can't tell anybody, or if someone finds out, then they're, you know, judged for that. So many kids, like 8, 9 years old, are taking this medication. And my thing with the medication, I've taken Zoloft, Paxil, all that stuff. About maybe 15, 16 years ago. This is just my story. I flushed it down the toilet. Because I was like, okay, if this stuff is making me like hallucinate much more than what I was already going through, there has to be another answer. I'm not saying not to give medication to children, but that should not be the first thing that you do. You need to get to the root of the problem of that child. And if you're trying to cover up, meaning that something has happened to that child and you're trying to just keep their mouth closed by, okay, let's give them this. You're going to keep them so doped up on this medication that they can't think clearly, and they surely can't be creative because they have too much stuff going on.
Thank you for calling. Thank you for listening to WCEGTalkRadio.com. What is your question in or comment, please?
I'm just calling in to give a shout out to Milyssa and enjoying the show.
Thank you very much, sir. We appreciate you listening.
Thank you so much, all the way from Mississippi. The SIP. Thank you for calling,
Thank you. We like the SIP. The M-I, cricket letter, I. Cricket letter, humpback, I. Thank you for calling in, sir. You have a great evening.
All right.
Okay, so we're talking about prescription drugs. Now, let me say this. I have a problem with prescription drugs. I forgot the one they used to give the children for ADHD about 2 years ago.
Ritalin. Yeah.
Ritalin. That's it. That's the one.
That was the thing for everybody.
Yeah.
Ritalin for all.
Put them on. I was when I first started teaching, I was teaching elementary school in Bankhead. And it was children in elementary school on Ritalin. And that was a problem for me. And then I saw some documentary at Georgia State where they interviewed 3 or 4 children that were on Ritalin from middle school and high school. And they were saying how the Ritalin made them have suicidal thoughts, where before they were, you know, they might have been acting out or doing whatever, but once they got put on the Ritalin, it made them start having suicidal thoughts. And so they had to get off the Ritalin. So a child's brain is still developing that young, and these Ritalins and a lot of these prescription drugs, it severely alters, you know, their chemical makeup in their mind. So I'm like, if you have to put a child on prescription drugs, then do that. But I don't, like you said, I definitely don't think it should be the first option.
And sometimes it is the first option, and because you're not talking about it, you're uninformed, and it's a check to some people. That's what I was about to that's what I'm about to say. Some of the parents over there, they were putting their kids on medication so that they could get a check. Yeah, and it's like they're uninformed, so it's like, we're gonna put him on this, and we'll give you a check. And so, in the parent's mind, it's like, oh,
they coming up.
You know what I'm saying? And it's like, it's kind of like you're using the kids like a guinea pig. It's okay, that didn't work, and that didn't work because I was on, I think, Paxil, and it made me sick, like so sick. I had to, there was a couch in one of the hospitals. There was a couch. I had to like not even go into a room. I had to like, because they didn't have enough staff. I had to like literally like sleep on this couch and in the front because they were understaffed, because it just made me like out of it. And so, again, when I decided to flush the stuff down the toilet, I was like, okay, it has to be another way. So I had to just go within myself, just find, okay, it has to be, because this stuff is making me kind of, out of it. And it's like, if you don't have it in your system for a while, then, you can kind of get back to normal. But I was like, it has to be a better way. And once I let that go and get out of my system, and then I was able to find my own spirit guide in a sense, because in the beginning I didn't believe in God and all that, because I was like, okay, who is this almighty God? People try to say, oh, just pray and all that. I was like, okay, that's for you. You go pray to your God.
Yeah.
And I had to be real. I'm not believing in that, because you have to come a different kind of way, because if it's this all powerful God and what have you, these things wouldn't have happened.
Right.
So let me find my way, and then I'll come back to you.
Right.
So now it's like, I say I'm a spiritual person, not a religious person. You know what I'm saying? Because we're spiritual beings. So I found my way to just by listening within, because I just couldn't get that part with them. You know what I'm saying? So again, with the medicine, it kind of made my mind a little cloudy, because at first and it's like this one thing I always say, I didn't know how to identify myself. I didn't know it was so much going on. I didn't know there's like, okay, you have this mental illness. And I was like, oh, so that's it. That's why I'm acting this way. I was like, oh, so you mean now I have this pill. And so now people understand, because I'm on Paxil and Prozac and all this stuff. And so now there's a reason for this. But really, it wasn't, because it's like all those other issues were just laying dormant. And so then when my mind was clear, and I was 25, I started remembering all these different accounts of this violation that occurred. And I was like, oh, so now this medicine is just suppressing. I was like, wait a minute, you know what? I'm going to put this medicine aside. And so what I did, I was in college. I flew home, and I was like, we're going to have a conversation with everybody. So everybody, we're going to come all out, family, friends. And I was like, okay, we're going to do this. There are a lot of people who are in denial. It's like, no, we didn't do this. This didn't happen. I was like, okay, you did. I'm going to deal with my truth. You deal with yours. I got it out, and now we're able to do it. And then I was like, whoa. I was like, I just went here and talked to all these people. And I was like, nervous. And I was like, but I freed myself.
Right.
So it was about me doing. I was like, okay, if I did this, and I can help somebody else. And so about 6 years ago, I never really thought about it till met this one person one day, and like she prayed for me, and it's like, okay, here we go again. It's like, somebody gonna pray for me.
Here we go.
And I was like, whoa, something changed. I was like, something happened with this prayer.
Right.
And like the next day, the person said, and I never ever thought about it or knew that I should release this. They said, I'm sorry that those things happened to you, and it was not your fault. I was like, whoa, like,
wow.
No, nobody ever said that. I didn't.
Right.
I was like, wow. And so that changed everything. And so I was like, okay, so this prayer thing, this God stuff may be all right.
It might be.
It might be okay. So So it's just each time I would have my moments like, I believe in God, I'm going to church, and I was like, I'm really not feeling the God stuff today. So, but again, when you come to a pathway, you go, okay, this is it. You didn't get here by yourself. Yes, you were planted, in your mother's womb and all that. But when you're here, you're in it kind of like you're responsible for yourself, your well-being. And it's like you just have to, when you get to a point of finding your purpose, like I know my purpose now. Right. It's like Healing Hearts to the Arts, because it has helped so many people in a sense of from what they've told me. And it's like, oh, this is what you got out there. Oh, wow, let's go tell some more people. And let's go tell some other kids. And let's go tell some adults. Because some of the people, well, I call them like the elders. And it's like, to me, it's like you always got to respect the elders. Because, they've been here a while longer than we have. And then the children, we need to, that link has to be there. Because you have to have the babies and the grandparents. And you have to just bridge that gap. And so they need to impart in us some things. Yeah. And for the people who are parents, they don't come with a manual. So I believe parents do the best they can with what they have. But if they're informed about some stuff, because they're just doing what they've seen or what they've known. Right. So that's why it keeps going. It's like if someone is dealing with something, it's like, oh, okay, he or she's kind of crazy. What have you? Really? So in what way? Half the world or most people, it's something. And it's like they may be taking medication, but they're not going to tell you because they fear if they tell you, then they're going to be labeled and judged too, and they want your friendship. Right. So my thing is that if I can say something to help heal a child and that they can have a healthy adult life that they don't have to be healed from, then my living has not been in vain.
Right. Got you. Let's bring God back into the conversation for everybody, because you said you had your up and down battle, and you made me think about I saw this meme on Facebook probably a month or so ago, and it was a picture, it was a cartoon. I want to say it was a SpongeBob character, but they was sleeping on a pillow soundly in bed, and the caption said, "This is what your God was doing when you were being molested." You know, just sleeping comfortably and not doing anything.
That was really cold.
Yeah, I was like, when I saw it, I was like,
I gave Kermit a run for his money.
Okay.
And the first thing it made me think was someone still dealing with some issues from their childhood, you know, and apparently they still have an issue with God because, you know, they put this out there. And so I just want to ask, you don't have to be too detailed, but what role does God play in you guys' life, if any? And how does that help you cope with life in general?
Okay.
We'll go this way.
Okay. So my godmother was the one, it's like, she didn't try to like, you know, shove it down my throat or anything. I just watched her and I saw some of the things that she went through. And just seeing her and her helping me all those times, what have you, and it's like for her praying, you know, what have you, I would call it 4 o'clock in the morning and all those times. And so years later, I was like, how did you do all that? I was just calling you and all these things. And she was like, no, she was like, you kept me on my knees. And I was like, what do you mean? She was like, you helped me to not really find God, but just to have a better relationship with God. It's like a relationship. Right. God. And I was like, wow. I said, I called you a whole lot of stuff. And she was like, no, she was like, you helped me. She said, I didn't know what to say to you, but because I knew that, you know, something was going on. It's like, I didn't know. Sometimes I was just praying while you were talking to give me guidance. And so I just saw the things work in her life. I saw a lot of things. So she didn't say, hey, do this. She was like, I'm going to church. Do you want to go? Or something like that. Or like, where are you going? Oh, come on, so going to church. But it wasn't like, just go. So she didn't like make me go. I went on my own because I'm trying to find out, okay, all these things you asked or pray for, what have you. Okay, let's go find out about this, you know? And, I just watched her and what she did, and you know, other different people as well, but mainly her, because she was my Mama Rose. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So I just watched her, and it's like she didn't come out and say, "Hey, you're dealing with something." She's like, "Oh, let's go bake this cake and stuff." And you know, it's just a different way. And it's like, I was like, "Okay, well, let's find out." And it's like it was just her courage and her strength and what have you. And with my mother gave birth to 21 kids. 15 survived, and there are 8 of us now. Okay. So my mother didn't know, like, you know, because back in her day, because she had me, I was like 34 and had a last child when she was 43. So it was like so many kids. So if you think about it, at different times, I was okay, my mother, like, why couldn't she help me and all this stuff would happen? Okay, she had give her 21 kids. Okay, 15, you know, survived. So you're dealing with that, and you're dealing with the husband, and then everybody's personality and all that, and then her parents. You know, she didn't really have her, you know, had her father for a while, but her mother, you know, died when she was a baby. So she's dealing with her own stuff. So sometimes we look at parents and like they should have all the answers, but they're individuals too. Yeah. And so they have to, like, can imagine. And it's like someone said, you know, maybe if she were to try to understand my stuff, that may have her going back to understand some of her stuff too. Right. And it's like her job was. Not her job, but what she did was like she fed us, you know, make sure we're clothed and what have you. She didn't have not really a lot of time since no one talked about it during her generation. Then no one's talking about it during our generation. Right, you know what I'm saying? So she didn't know what to say because she's been taught don't talk, don't say anything, and so you know we may want to blame somebody other than not other than the person, but blame those people who did these things. Yeah, but. You just got to find a way. So I believe me finding God was through my music and dance. It's like I'm alive because I can dance, I can sing, and I'm able to free myself, and I'm here to tell the story. There are some people that are not here to tell their story. That is true. I have to help to tell their story because there's more coming. Yeah.
All right, Jamilah.
Well, me personally, I'm a very spiritual person.
Mm-hmm.
I stay prayed up. I pray at a certain time. That's just something I created on my own.
Okay.
I don't really like to put titles and labels on
I don't
everything.
either. I got you.
Especially since I'm still young and still trying to figure everything out.
I don't know. You got an old soul over there. Okay. Some of these responses you done gave, you got an old soul over there.
But I find when I pray, a lot of things in my life have gotten better. I deal with some personal issues with my family and all that, and me as a person. So I tend to pray or meditate just to clear my mind and get through whatever I'm trying to get through.
Yeah, meditation is good for me. I do a lot of meditating. Milyssa?
I do pray, and I feel like I get the answer, to motivate myself to, put my energy into something positive. I just look at it this way. I mean, every day you should put, invest in yourself, whether it be, bettering yourself somehow, learning something. I work out, I try to keep my mind busy, my body busy.
Right.
So that way I don't have time to dwell. I notice that's a big thing when you stay in your head all the time.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
That's when the problems really start cooking up.
Yeah.
So I try my best to, like you said, like meditate or, really, I do pray. I mean, I know some people are like, but no, you're a heathen. No, I mean, I do, because that really got me through a lot of what I was, what I've been going through, is that gives me the answer. Whoever's up there gave me the answer that this is what I need to be doing. So then I, picked myself up and, kept on trucking. So.
Okay. I definitely have to find some solace in God too. I pray and meditate a lot. Meditation generally works for me. But I know for me, before I was 30, I didn't have any relationship with God. And so once I started that, it gave me a better understanding of self and of God. You know what I mean? So I definitely recommend everyone start a personal relationship with God if that's something that you feel, because everybody doesn't feel they need a relationship with God. And I'm not the type of person that force or put anything on anybody. But it was one of the best things I ever did. I'll say that much. Where is the event again, Angela?
The event is April 27th. And it's from 4:30 to 7 p.m. It's 640 Evans Street. It's in
downtown?
The West End area. In the
West End area. Okay.
It's in a cafe.
Alrighty. And Jamilah and Milyssa, do you guys want to give your social media information for people to follow you?
Yes, you guys can follow me on Instagram at JAMILAHCMUHAMMAD. That's Jamilah C. Muhammad. Facebook at Miss Jamilah. YouTube at Beauty J. And my book, my notebook journal, on Amazon and Barnes & Noble's website is called Jamilah.
Oh, you the published author?
Yes.
I'm sorry.
With
the help of my Unc Jamiah and World Beat Books, it's called Jamilah Muhammad's Funky Cool Notebook Journal.
Jamilah Muhammad, what is it? Funky Cool Notebook Journal. Melanin poppin', actress and model. Ooh, that melanin poppin' over there. Beautiful, beautiful. Well, I wish you much success with that. A couple more comments. Sorry.
You forgot all about me.
I did. You're not memorable.
The best place to find me is mrosemusic.com, and then all my links are on there. My Instagram, my YouTube, Facebook, Twitter. Follow me at your own risk. That's all I'm going to say. Okay. It's a cautionary tale.
Okay. Yes. No, don't believe that. Milyssa is a wonderful person. I've known her for about 4 years now. And she's super, super talented.
Oh, thank you.
Impressionally yours says, me love you all. We love you too, impressionally yours. Thank you for listening. Sophia Johnson says, another issue is a lot of Black people don't like to see a therapist. Ain't nothing wrong with talking to someone who will listen and might have the skills to help you. And here's my thing with that. People always say that the Black community have problems seeing doctors or therapists, but that's not for nothing. Like that, historically, it comes from places. You know what I mean? From the abuse and neglect and oppression and suppression that we've suffered in this country. And so I think it's going to take a lot more than just telling people to go see a therapist. Like it has to be some type of process. It might be a long process for others, but I think we just have to put more understanding into the fact that the Black community has gone through so much more than a lot of the other communities in this country, in the United States. And I think that not only does it give us more problems, but it gives us more reasons to not have those problems addressed directly, if that makes sense. You know, so to be honest, I don't know what we can do about that as a whole. Other than, like you said, continue to have this conversation, right? You know, we got to have the conversation. The more we have the conversation, the more people will get comfortable with expressing their feelings and putting their stuff out there. But I know right now we're not really there as a whole.
We'll get there.
We'll get there. We will. With good people like you and Milyssa and Jamilah doing these wonderful things and projects, we will definitely get there. I want to read some stats real quick. Well, this first one is a quote. It said, "Suicide does not end the chances of life getting worse. Suicide eliminates the possibility of it ever getting better." I thought that was very powerful. I thought about Robin Williams, the actor Robin Williams, because he was one of my favorite actors growing up. I mean, he was Popeye, for God's sake. And so he's been acting for so long, and you know, he had a lot of money, and every time you saw him on TV, to your point, Milyssa, he's laughing and joking and smiling, covering it up. And then when that happened, I'm just like, wow, you know, in my perspective, one of the happiest people on the planet committed suicide because he was going through internal stuff and nobody really knew. And I know he had a lot of people that loved him and cared about him and would have probably threw themselves, you know, on top of him to stop him from hurting himself. But he, for whatever reason, didn't feel that, I don't know, that trust in people to be able to confide in them. But, you know, suicide eliminates the possibility of life ever getting better. That hit me when I read that. This says that the number of children who visited emergency rooms for suicidal thoughts and suicidal attempts doubled between 2007 and 2015. Data from the National Hospital Ambulatory Medical Care Survey. The numbers increased from 580,000 in 2007 to 1.1 million in 2015. The average age of the child at the time of the evaluation was 13, and 43% of the visits were in children between 5 and 11. Say that again. 43% of the visits. Hold on, I'm gonna read the whole sentence. The average age of child at the time of evaluation was 13, which is not very old at all. And 43% of the visits were in children between 5 and 11. That is amazing to me. I don't understand, you know, why a 5-year-old would be having thoughts like that. But then again, we all have our different battles and journeys in life. But that's scary to me. That a 5-year-old is having thoughts like that. It says one reason for increase in depression and suicidal thoughts or suicidal behaviors may be more stress and pressure on children, said Dr. Jean Barrison, ED of the Clayton Center for Young Healthy Minds at Massachusetts General Hospitals. Then she also stated that suicidal behaviors may be inherited. So if some suicidal behaviors may be inherited, that should give more reason for families to discuss, right? Because I think I was in my 30s before my mother started discussing family mental health issues with me. And I'm like, you know, it would have been nice to know some of that stuff before, you know. But I think as a family, like you said, it's communication. It's communication as a family and everything. Like, we have to just talk to each other and understand each other to help us come out of these situations. Because between 5 and 11,
it's too young.
That's too young to be having those type of thoughts. And so I just want to commend you for having an event like you're having and for having your organization working with children in mental illness, because it's a heavy topic, it's a heavy issue, and it's an issue that a lot of people want to avoid. And I had a guest on here previously. Her name was Kendra Turner. She has SODA, Survivors of Domestic Abuse. And she made a statement that said, secrets keep you sick. Mm-hmm. And I thought that was very profound when she said that to me. And it stuck with me ever since she said that. And so we have to heal ourselves by talking about it, right?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So this is the last question for you. Why is an event like the Free Your Mind Youth Explosion, why is it important for children to be a part of something like that?
Because if we don't have these events, we're not going to have any children. We're not going to have any.
Don't say that. Ooh, Lord, that hurt my heart when you just said that.
Is that serious?
Ooh. Okay.
If we don't have these discussions, because again, as you said, a 5-year-old should be playing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, what Milyssa said earlier too is like, monitor your kids. Watch what don't ask them what they're watching because they're going to tell you, oh,
right. Yeah.
No. Go in their phones. Go in their rooms. That like watch them. Watch their behavior.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because again, in my household, I'm like quiet. I'm over to the side. No one noticed that. Dark clothes, or I'm locking doors, or I'm,
right.
No one knows. They just said I'm weird, but no one thought to go and help. And when you were saying about if it's in your family, well, with my aunt, it was in my family, and so it can be hereditary. So while they were taking care of her, I'm grateful that they, glad they took care of her, took her to the hospital and all that.
Right.
But when it came to me, it's like, no, she's weird. So I'm thinking, okay, there's a disconnection here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because if you're keeping it a secret over here, you're taking it to this place.
Right.
Because, we're 9 and 10. We don't know what that place is. We just see a building. Right.
Yeah.
But now, here I am. And then because I started talking about it, I started saying, hey, something's wrong here. I started getting help. And I still was told then, well, don't enough people know already about it? No, they don't.
Right.
And I will continue to talk forever. We're going to have this conversation a lot of times. We're going to keep going on. So
okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am. Milyssa, why do you think this event is important for children?
I think it's important to educate the children and the parents.
Yes.
And to piggyback on what you said about people need to realize what's going on in their own home. I think a lot of the things that go on, whether it be the mass shootings, whether it be people end up being serial killers or end up committing suicide, people need to recognize the signs of what's going on in their own home and what's going on in their families and in their community.
Yes.
If you see something, say something, act on it. And I think that's very important. I think people want to hide things under the rug or say that's none of my business. My nieces and nephews are always playing on their phones, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, who are you talking to? Are you sure that person is a child playing that video game with you? Because you have to be careful. There's
so many adults hiding behind.
Yeah, there's a lot of things that go on now in society. I think people just want to pretend like it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen to me. Well, it could. So open your eyes, pry into your children's lives, pry into people's lives if you see that you care about them and say, why are you acting that way?
Yeah.
Don't say, oh, you're crazy, I've never experienced that. Sit down with them and say, let's talk. Let's have a conversation. Even if it's let's go have coffee or let's go get our nails done, get our hair done. Because people are going to open up to you. I mean, I never tell people come to me when they have issues. I don't say, well, this is what you need to do. And that's going to fix everything. And then, no, they want somebody, to talk to, get their mind off of what's going on. And eventually when you develop a relationship with someone, they're going to be trusting of you. They're going to open up. Yeah. And then there's the boom, pounce on it. Well, let me tell you what I do, or this is what I suggest, or, if you need help, I'll be there for you. Don't, sit there and wallow in sorrow with them, like some people like to do. Well, I'm sad too. No, we don't need that. Let's figure out what we can do to be happy together.
Yeah, because two sad minds together.
That's a recipe for a disaster.
Yeah, that's not gonna be good. Oh, go ahead. Why is an event like this important for children, Jamilah?
Well, for kids and teens such as myself, it's important to educate them on these important issues because they don't touch on this in schools or normal places or whatever. And if you're a parent, I know I'm a child, but if you're a parent and you see something wrong with your child, don't just push it away or, oh, it's just a phase or whatever. Talk to them. I tend to open up more because I'm not a person to talk about my feelings, but talk to them like Miss Milyssa said, take them to go get their hair or nails done or whatever, and they'll maybe open up.
Right.
And it's very important to teach them these things because we are the future.
Yes.
You're absolutely correct. And don't do what you did just now. Don't diminish your words and the power of your words by saying, I know I'm only a child. Your words matter. Okay?
Yes.
Thank you very much, ma'am.
Yes, they do.
Thank you for being here. I really appreciate that. And you're very smart. You're the old soul. You've been here before.
Yes. Yep, exactly like it. Yep.
All right, I'm gonna give out my suicide prevention hotline numbers again. The first one is 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-TALK. 1-800-273-8255. And remember to question your friends if you think they may be going through something. If they are, persuade them to get help. And if you know someone who can help them, refer them to someone who can help them. Question, persuade, and refer. Okay? The text suicide prevention hotline is text CONNECT, CONNECT, to 741-741. Again, text CONNECT to 741-741. If anybody out there who may need assistance, there are people who will help. So please reach out and don't stay stuck in yourself or inside your head, as Milyssa said earlier. Okay, and before we get out of here, this has been a pretty heavy conversation. So we're going to end on a lighter, positive note, and that is with my scholars of the week. It's the only time I can beat on the table, Penny. I'm sorry. My first scholar of the week goes to 4-year-old Caleb Green, who read 100 books in a day. Yes, you heard that correctly. Yeah. He's 4 years old and he read 100 books in a day. He read 10 books at a time and danced to his progress. His father said that when Caleb first came to him with the idea, he thought it was a bit much and he was going to try to talk Caleb out of reading the 100 books. But Caleb insisted that he wanted to read 100 books, and he read 100 books in a day, and they even live streamed it, so it should be out there on YouTube somewhere. Nice. Wow. Caleb's dad said, I learned to just dream, and I am going to set unrealistic goals for myself this coming year, and I'm going to be inspired by Caleb. Yes. So you telling me children don't have power? This 4-year-old just awesome. Inspired his father to dream bigger and set unrealistic goals. That is amazing to me. So shout out to Caleb. Caleb wants to be a basketball player, an astronaut at 22, and a Ninja Turtle at 23. So shout out to Caleb Green, my first scholar of the week. You be any Ninja Turtle you want to, sir. My second scholar of the week goes to a group. It was a group of 12 students from Kepler Neighborhood School. They stopped a 47-year-old woman from committing suicide recently, and I think that is absolutely wonderful. It was a group of 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. They saw the lady on the edge of a bridge or something. They ran to the school and got the coach. The coach came back, and they was trying to help. The coach told the children, just keep yelling positive things to her. You're great. You're amazing. You are worthy, and all of this stuff. And then the coach was able to, get her down. So I think that's absolutely wonderful. So shout out to those 12 students from Kepler Neighborhood School. They are my scholars of the week. Hold on. One more.
Okay, bring it on. Bring it on.
My next scholar of the week goes to Miss Jamilah Muhammad. Yeah. For being an awesome youth. For participating in the Free Your Mind Youth Explosion, for discovering your talents at an early age, and for being a very wise old soul.
Yes.
Don't forget a book. Jamilah Muhammad's Funky Cool Notebook Journal. Hashtag Melanin Pop. She's the actress, model, entrepreneur, all that good stuff. So you, ma'am, are awesome.
Thank you.
You're very welcome. Thank you, Milyssa, for being here.
Thank you so much, Vincent. It's always a pleasure.
Angela Crook, keep up the great work in the community. You're much, much needed. You're an angel, Angela.
You are.
Thank you very much. To all the listeners, thank you for tuning in to WCEGTalkRadio.com. To everyone who left comments, we appreciate you as well. Tune in. We won't be back next week. May 14th is when we will be coming back. Everyone have a blessed evening, and we'll see you next time. Peace.
Peace.